This is a short story called World of Darkness. There hadn't been a break in the day dark since the homeless man climbed over the plexiglass last year to swim with the caimans. The lights had gone up straight away. It wasn't Henrietta who'd flipped the switch. She was assigned primates that day. But if she had been on duty at World of Darkness then, she'd have done the same. Never mind the bats and naked mole rats getting freaked out, like people would be if an eclipse hit out of nowhere at noon. The rules were clear on this: people before animals, animals before things. Which was not to say that people's wants were more important. They got tossed out of the zoo regularly for throwing coins at the caimans or yelling at the gorillas, even though there was a big sign that said, "No yelling, it makes our gorillas nervous." But was to say that it wasn't okay to let someone get eaten, no matter how fucked up. "Guard," a woman demanded now for the 5th time, "turn on the lights." Henrietta shone her flashlight on the floor. A boy was on his knees the way Henrietta was on her knees, their hands patting between the falls of people's souls. "It's valuable," the woman said several different ways in loud words, hard words, curse words. "Turn them on." But the turning of day dark to daylight was a serious thing, not about to happen for an earring, no matter how many carats. The woman martini shook the handle of a $1,000 stroller. The boy crawled the floor. Her husband yelled, "Don't yell!" The infant screeched. The stroller was a bugaboo chameleon, base dark gray, tailored fabric red. The guard's dead son's girlfriend, Cyndi, spent every night online dream-drinking chameleons and leather-seated rocking high chairs and throne plush car seats until she was slow-eyed from web-clicking amphibious color combinations. The chameleon had siblings, the frog and the gecko. Cyndi's fantasy chameleon, base bright blue, tailored fabric pink, half and half like a dipped Easter egg. The guard's dead son, back when he was not dead, back further before he was Cyndi's boyfriend, had been someone people say would make a great adult someday. A kid whose loyalty to the minutiae of the universes of science fiction shows he adored would transmute someday into loyalty to a real girl and real kids, back when he still had Sundays. The boy crawling the floor was named Riley Berenger Carringsworth. He was called Rye by his parents, and at age 10 was clever enough to imagine the word punned as W-R-Y, but not yet jaded enough to imagine it as R-Y-E, which, given his mother's sipping gin from one of his baby brother's formula bottles at 10 a.m., would have qualified as irony, a concept the Greenbrier School on East 82nd Street introduced in English class in grade 4. The artificial humidity fogged Rye's glasses and crept up his nose. His mother said, "It stinks of guano," though it didn't. "It's of value," she told the guard, patting the floor and patting her hair. "The lights must go on," said Rye's father, "now." The lights couldn't go on in the middle of the day, the guard said for the 8th time. The animals had rhythms that couldn't be disrupted. They would feed wrong, sleep wrong, perhaps forget to tend their children, or eat them. Rye had been watching the naked mole rat and counting its bald babies, 18, right before his mother first realized her earring was gone. Rye wiped his tears before his parents could see them. The guard squeezed his shoulder and pointed to the character on Rye's t-shirt. It was a shirt he could only wear on weekends because the Greenbrier School did not believe in wearing characters. "Xylon is my favorite in that movie," the guard said. "You gotta love a guy made of plasma and platinum." "Then tell the fucking bats to shut their fucking eyes," the woman yelled. She removed her other 2-carat diamond earring and kissed it like a crucifix. In the dark, kids bumped her and kicked the wheels of the bugaboo the way that Henrietta, as a child, had knocked on the door and run from the house of a woman down the street who used to talk to herself summer nights on her patio, repeating malodorous and knickerbockers and fuckwad until she passed out in her rocking chair. "I want your boss," she said to Henrietta. She toed for the earring with a shoe that made a woman's foot look and feel like glass. "I want the head." Henrietta was overwhelmed. Had been, since Cyndi moved in and filled her house with it. Cyndi announced every one of her cravings like one of those news reporters on TV, the ones that got stuck with not news, like that there were coyotes living in the city that almost no one ever saw and that hurt no one, and that lived on rats that no one wished weren't eaten. Last night's craving was pomegranate, which Cyndi wanted but didn't want because she only wanted them in her mother's kitchen with her mother the way that she used to eat them every fall, their fingers stained red. Henrietta didn't mind the cravings, really, as much as the non-stories. Cyndi was full of non-stories about how life used to be, before Henrietta's son had knocked her up and gotten her kicked out of her house, and then gone and OD'd after only doing drugs a few times, the way only kids in movies about why not to take drugs ever did. Eye level with the cutout of the lowest naked mole rat burrows, Rye watched the rats run forward and backward while he patted the ground and wished he could touch their wrinkly pink-gray skin. He had chosen to do a report on them for science class last year. Scratch a naked mole rat, scrape it, burn it. Its skin lacked a chemical called substance P. It could feel no pain. His mother crossed her arms. "Get someone," she said to the air. "Animals before things," he heard the guard say. He wanted to cover his eyes, but this was something he was not allowed to do, a behavior the Greenbrier School on East 82nd Street had told his parents was not normal, and so he did not do it, even though it was the thing he wanted most in the world. Instead, he watched the mole cam that broadcasted onto a TV screen the naked mole rats forward, backward, somersaulting, burrowing, and huddles of sleep, and the 18 baby mole rats taking turns at their mother's 12 pink naked mole rat teats. "Use social, like mammalian bees," read a placard that said where they were from and what they ate, but did not mention their painlessness. The rest of the colony lives to serve one queen. Hard as it was for Rye to imagine not feeling pain, it was even harder for him to imagine not knowing something like that was missing. He liked to read books his parents said were not important books, that were about pretend worlds or about what if the real world were different. In some, people turned back time or traveled it or discovered there were multiple thems and multiple worlds, none more right or alive. In others, a person discovered that the world he thought he lived in, which used to seem like a pretty good world, wasn't the real world at all, and then he had to decide if he should tell other people the truth. Sometimes the people he told got really angry, because they were happy in their worlds, happy not knowing what they were missing. Would the mole rats want to know that they were missing out on pain? If he could speak rat, would he tell them? When Henrietta and Rye hear Rye's father boom the word donor, they both know what it means. There will be a later, a very soon later, in which day dark turns to unscheduled daylight, through which Rye's mother will squint for her earring, which will remain missing, and through which the naked mole ratlings will keep at their mother's great pink mole rat teats. In one later world, the earring is already stuffed into the day dark of a stranger's jeans jacket. In another, it rests on the lining of the stomach of a caiman, used to snapping at coins. In a third, it has transformed into a chameleon, having been carried out in Henrietta's bra. In a fourth, it nestles in the ankle part of a sweat sock belonging to Riley Beringer Carringsworth, called Rye, who will press it into Henrietta's hand. And in yet another world unimagined, all the animals, all at once, know exactly what to do. The mother bats squeaking to their children, "Just close your eyes and it will all be all right. Close your eyes, batlings, and soon it will be over." Thank you.